Okay, we will now begin with Kenyan and Drake. Please raise your hand and we'll get a mic. Well, you beat me to it.
Oh, can I say something real quick? I just want to give a shout out to my little brother. It's his birthday today, his 10th birthday, Isaiah Drake. He wanted me to make sure I did that, so I just want to make sure I did that for him.
You're a good brother.
Happy birthday. Hunter Mandel with Bleacher Report. Can you go into the finish motto that you guys have going into the season? Just talk about what that means to you and what you guys are going into 2015.
Yeah, it's definitely a very important motto to all of our teammates. Obviously with the last 2 years, we didn't really finish the way we really wanted to. But all in all, it was still a great season. But our ultimate goal is always to win a national championship. So with anything we do in the workout room, when we're running sprints during our summer workouts, like right now, we always have the finish motto, which is always give your best effort when it's needed at the end. So, like I said, we kind of have gotten away from that in a sense. We're not taking advantage of the opportunities that we had the last couple of years and be able to play for the national championship. But I feel like definitely this year, with the team that we have now, we definitely want to make sure we hold our standards up to that motto.
Right here, second row to the left.
Jen Chapman with WVUA. How are you feeling and how ready are you to play?
I'm feeling great. If the season starts today, I'll definitely be out there on the field with my teammates. Nothing held back at all. And like I said, I'm just ready to get out there with my teammates and, have this chase for another national championship.
What's the biggest difference this year? What's the energy like in the locker room?
We're definitely hungry again. Like I said, the last couple of years we haven't finished exactly the way we wanted to. We won an SEC championship, which is definitely the first goal, but the next goal is definitely to win a national championship. And we have a lot of players who didn't have the opportunity to play a lot last year, who will have the opportunity to do so this year, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So they're definitely ready to take that role into being a star player.
Hey, Kenyan, Steve Nissom, WEAR Pensacola. How tough was that injury last year when it first happened, and were thoughts going through your mind, I'm not sure if I can come back from this?
Well, I never thought that I wouldn't be able to come back from it. I know there's been a lot of players in recent memory that have had devastating injuries that have had great rehabilitation staff like ours, and I personally feel like we have the best rehab staff in the country. So they definitely did their job to help me get back as soon as possible. They definitely catered to all my aches and my pains and my needs that I needed to. Sometimes I didn't feel like working. They pushed me, they laid off of me a little bit, but it's definitely been a long road. There's definitely an injury that, I never had an injury to that extent before. So, once it happened, I had to really realize, okay, it's just not going to be a 2 or 3 week injury. It's going to be 4 or 5 month injury. Even now, I still kind of have pains and aches a little bit, but it's all about a mindset, and I'm ready to get back on the field with my teammates.
Hey, Kenyan. Chris Price, WBRZ Sports 2 in Baton Rouge. You guys obviously always have a lot of talent, but you're replacing so many starters on offense this year. The process will really be put to the test this year, won't it? Can you guys keep that string of 10-win seasons rolling?
Yeah, I definitely feel like we have a lot of players that, like I said, with the experience they have being behind great players, they'll definitely be able to keep the tradition of having great players and and making great plays. We have a lot of experience with players playing on special teams. That's definitely the most important team in a lot of our eyes because we always try to have a complete game. So even players that may not have been star players on offense or defense, they definitely made a name for themselves on special teams with the ability to make plays and realize, okay, I'm not the star player yet, but I'm waiting in the wings to do so, and now they have that chance so that, we're ready to make that, that chance.
Buddy, Sheldon Haygood here at Fox 6 in town. A couple of questions, if you can bear with me. The first is your role this year. In the spring, we kind of saw a little bit more on the outside at wide receiver. Just talk about that. It's a little bit different. Granted, it's not etched in stone. I guess it'll determine how you look in the fall. But just talk about maybe the role changing for you a little.
Yes. I really pride myself on being versatile. So having the ability to play running back, play receiver, be in the backfield, or line up out wide. I try to give coaches the ability to put myself in position to really help my team out in any way I can. And like I said, I pride myself on that ability to do so. So with that being said, I always look forward to anything that Coach Kiffin comes up with. He's a mastermind at playing caller and putting his playmakers in the best ability to be successful. So with that, I would want to, make sure that I can be trustworthy so he can put me in the best position to help the team.
All right, you gave him a shout out, so we'll give Isaiah a little bit extra time. Talk about him and your relationship with him and what makes it so special.
Well, he's definitely been one of my biggest fans. He plays sports too, football, baseball. I also played football and baseball growing up too, and I always just want to make sure that I'm always on my best behavior, on my P's and Q's when I'm dealing with my younger siblings, because I have a younger sister also. She's 14 this year, and a younger brother. He's going to turn 22 or 20 also, and I just want to make sure I give them something to emulate, because being the oldest, you always have to make sure that you can be that role model for them, because they are your biggest fans.
Hey, Kenyan, Hannah Chalker with Crimson Tide Productions right here. Being versatile from running back to wide receiver, how is that going to help fill the huge hole that Amari Cooper left behind?
I feel like that's a very monumentous task to do so, because Amari Cooper is Amari Cooper. But I feel like it won't be a task that will be solely put on my back. We have numerous receivers that are coming up that are hungry for the opportunity to play. Derrick Henry, along with myself and other fellow running backs, are also ready to take on the position to fill the hole that a lot of other players left too. And also with our quarterbacks, we have a great quarterback competition, and all 5 guys that we have that are in the running to do so will give our team the best ability to win a national championship, and whoever they choose. I completely back that position 100%.
Elaborate a little bit more on who's going to be handing you the ball this year in the quarterback battle. I think Ryan Kelly was saying there's about 5 guys. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, to piggyback on what he said, there are 5 guys who are in the running to be in that position. And I'm just glad that, personally, I'm not the person who has to make that decision, because all 5 guys, they bring something to the table that that can help the team win in any way possible. And it's definitely going to be a great battle to watch as the summer and into fall camp progresses. And like I said, I will be completely comfortable with whoever ended up being behind the quarterback or behind the center at the position.
Taylor Tannenbaum, WTVY. You talk about it being a mindset coming back from this injury. What's been harder for you, the mental aspect of it or the physical aspect?
Well, I think the mental aspect definitely. Physically, the bone is healed. The ligaments are pretty much intact and everything. But mentally, some days it will really bother you, some days it won't. And you kind of have to put yourself in a mind frame where you will understand that it's not going to be perfect, because your body's not going to be perfect regardless if you're 100% or if you were been banged up a little bit. So coming off an injury of that extent, they always try to remind me that, okay, look, your injury is very extensive, and really you are coming back at a extremely fast pace, which they expected me to do so, because I'm a very competitive person when it comes to getting back on the field and really back out there with my teammates. So with that being said, I kind of have to really overcome sometimes the little aches and pains that I may have in it and try to push through it, because really, it's always going to be something that bothers me regardless, whether it's my ankle or anything else. That's just the game we play.
Hey, Kenyan, Jacques Doucet, WAFB TV in Baton Rouge, representing such a successful brand. If someone's fortunate enough to beat you, they're going to tear down the goalpost or make a T-shirt or whatever. Does that kind of stuff fuel you guys because you're so successful? A lot of people dislike Alabama.
Yeah, we definitely have, a lot of fans or a lot of haters, if whatever way you try to phrase it. But at the same time, we play for ourselves. We play for the person beside us when we're in the summertime running those sprints. We have to pick each other up when we're down. We also we we're always there together, and we're around each other, 24/7 it seems like. So we always play for our coaches and the teammates, and especially our fans, because without our fans we wouldn't be anything. So that's who we worry about. We don't worry about any other outside distraction that may hinder us from being the team that we want to be.
Can you describe the feeling of not being able to play in the semifinal game and then having to talk to your teammates after that loss?
Yeah, it was very tough. I wanted to be out there with my team really bad to help them, in those tough situations. That's why I took on a role that I'm not really too familiar with being more of a vocal leader for my teammates. I try to lead more by example when I'm out there on the field. But I definitely saw that throughout the year that they needed more of a piggyback and somebody to be on the sideline and let them know from a player's perspective that, what's going on and how everything is kind of progressing, because, it's easier to see something from the outside looking in, whether when you're inside. That's why we have all the technology we have with, game film and everything. So I just wanted to be that voice, and reassurance to help them through that situation, especially after the loss. It was definitely a tough loss, and we played a great team in Ohio State, and they definitely deserved to win. So we definitely, are now looking forward to, this next season and seeing how everything will play out.
Hey, Kenyan, I don't know if have you ever lost to LSU? And I know it's always a big game, but has the rivalry lost a little something when you guys have reeled off 4 wins in a row against them?
I definitely don't feel like that's the case. Personally, I was really upset when this would be my final year, and I won't have an opportunity to play in Tiger Stadium anymore. That's one of my favorite games to participate in, and I definitely don't feel like the rivalry of any sort has fallen off or anything, because every game that we've played against them, and no, I have not lost to LSU since I've been here as a Crimson Tide member, but every game has been a very competitive game up to the fourth quarter, and you can't ask for any other rivalry to match that, honestly, because, with my freshman year with TJ scoring that touchdown late, and last year with the overtime victory, every game came down to the wire, and that's all you can ask for in a great game.
Kenyan, you've been through so much adversity on and off the field at Alabama, sometimes quote-unquote in the doghouse. To be a senior and to have Coach Saban ask you to represent your team at this event, what does that mean to you?
It definitely means a lot, and there aren't many words I can really describe to how humble I feel to have this opportunity to be here and, to be in this arena, this type of atmosphere, because of the things that I've been through as a young adult to become more mature and to go through the maturation process to finally get to where I'm at now. It's crazy how, Coach Saban really has a lot of patience for a lot of the players on the team, and I can really attest for that. And it definitely goes back to how of a person Coach Saban is, because there's a lot of situations, especially on the team, where in the other place, a player would probably be dismissed, but Coach Saban really takes players under his wings because he understands that nobody's perfect. So the opportunities that you get to come here to the University of Alabama, can't be matched, in my opinion, by any university, especially with a coach like Nick Saban. So I'm just very thankful for the opportunity to come here and to leave here a better man than I came.
Dane Young, WRBL, Columbus, Georgia. In a couple months, you'll return back to Jordan-Hare Stadium for the first time since that kick six. Does that game still sting?
Yeah, it definitely leaves a bad taste, especially with that being how we got knocked out of the national championship picture. It definitely was a great game, though, and I definitely look forward to going back and kind of trying to redeem what we lost back then.
We have time for a couple more questions.
Kenny, the run of success that Alabama's had, string of 10-win seasons, going all the way back to 2008. How does that continue to happen? You roll in new players every year, and what does that say about the program and how that's worked?
It's really just about how, if you really look at the base of the program, starting to Nick Saban, and it trickles down all the way to say any personnel player. Everybody has the same role. Everybody has the same goal in the end, and that's to help the players that we have here to leave better men than when they came in. We all come in as, real young 18-year-olds, and I can attest to that. And you kind of go through, bumps and bruises along the way to try to get to, ultimately when you're leaving here, you can leave here with a degree and leave here understanding that I'm more prepared now for the future than I ever will have been if I would have went to any other university in the country, honestly. So now that, with that being said, going back to the football aspect of it, it's the same way with football, because I don't think going to any other school would have prepared me to play at another level or play at the highest level in college football in the SEC like Alabama has. And that's a test to everything that Coach Saban and the coach staff, they do for us.
Stu McCann. Oh, sorry.
Front row, right here.
When it's all said and done, what are they going to say about Alabama in 2015?
I just hope that at the end of the day, we can continue to progress how we have in the summer and our summer workouts and fall camp. Prepare every game like, obviously like a big game, because every game we play is a big game. Every team that we play, they give us their best shot. So there's no slacks in our schedule. And at the end of the day, our ultimate goal is to win the SEC championship and national championship. So hopefully we can, redeem what we've, for the last 2 years, have failed to accomplish, is, win the big game.
Last question right here.
Stu McCann, ABC 3340, Kenyan, right over here. This is going to sound very cliche, but coming back from an injury, you hear people talk about, their approach is different. They've never actually seen something that might affect their football career, and now that you're coming back, you get an opportunity to come here to SEC Media Days. Do you have a different approach to the field? Are you approaching this season different than maybe other stuff that you might have approached in the past?
Yeah, I definitely, details are definitely something that are preached on a daily basis at the university, on and off the field. And that's something that I feel like I kind of took for granted with having years kind of left in my eligibility beforehand. I kind of took advantage of the time that I may have had to continue to develop, but now it's like how I lost, the majority of my junior year, and then I didn't get to receive the medical red shirt that I hope I would have to gain that eligibility back. It kind of put me in the track of like, okay, this is my final year to really make a name for, the university as a whole, and for myself personally, and to help my teammates win the ultimate goal for a national championship again. So it was almost like it was now or never, kind of. So it's not like I didn't work hard to put myself in the best position to succeed beforehand, but now it's almost just, it's added pressure. And I love the pressure, because that's when I feel like I exceed, and I try to, do my best to prepare myself to become, the best player I can be. But now with my senior year, having an added leadership role, I feel like it's now or never.
Okay, thank you.
Communications. Sorry.